back to Move Point Podcast, episode 4. And once again, I'm Amari.
And I'm Miles.
And yeah, so just before we begin, we had a comment on YouTube, and so we just want to address that real quick. I think Miles got to pull
Put that up real quick.
Yeah. But in the meantime, I mean, we appreciate the comments. We only had one so far, but like I said, we always encourage the comments and people to like chime in or to give us topics to talk about that, you know, we may haven't been speaking about yet, you know, because like I said, we're always trying to figure out a way to, you know, continue dialogue and get everybody involved some way, shape, or form. Also, the people of the day, the idea with that was we really wanted to shout out like any black-owned businesses or just any black figures in the community that's trying to do good and do better for us. And so, if you know any local businesses, or maybe if you have a brand of your own and you want to shout it out and you want us to highlight you, all you gotta do is send us like a brief description of that, and then just send us a name and your whole mission statement, and we'll be able to shout you out.
So to the comment on the last episode, I guess our person of the day wasn't someone we know, but it was G Herbo, and we was talking about his mental health program that he started in Chicago for the youth, like I think 18 to 24. I'm pretty sure it's a free program. And we had a comment. It was like, let's see. He said G Herbo has been seen being physically aggressive with women. What are your thoughts on that? And do you think a man like that should possibly address his own issues before trying to be the light in others and help his community? And then he asked you about how do you plan to impact the community with your nonprofit? You want me to start?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Like I was telling him, I was saying, obviously I don't condone physical abuse, towards women. And I believe he was referring to the relationship that he previously was in, because I haven't seen anything recent with this the new woman he is with. I know they had an abusive type relationship, which is bad, and should never be in a relationship like that. But I know it's been seen on both sides of them, like she hitting him, he hitting her, and like I said, I believe he's out there. I don't know if there's any new cases, so if there has been, you guys can point me to that so I can address it. But I'm thinking that that's over now, and people have, like I was telling him, people have things in their past, or skeletons in the closet, as people like to say, and just because they have certain flaws, I don't believe that if they're trying to bring light into the community that you should shine them or close the light just because the mistakes they have made in the past. We're all not perfect. We all have things going against us, and different things have different magnitudes. I know that's on a higher scale, one of the highest things, but I believe like I said, that was in the past, and he's gotten out of that situation. So I don't see how it could be a problem that he's trying to do something. I mean, this is big, like a mental health program in Chicago. People know what goes down in Chicago. They know about the murder rates up there. There's a lot of PTSD. He dropped an album called PTSD. I mean, he's been expressive about his experiences with therapy. You might not see rappers doing that. I mean, whether you like it or not, rappers, they have an influence on the culture and influence on the population, influence on the kids. So him opening up, about his therapy sessions. Him saying he'd been so nervous the first time he went, he was tearing, I guess he had a card in his hand and he was tearing it up. And it's just I mean, these things that people need to know about, and I mean, a lot of people don't go to therapy. You know what I'm saying? It's a booming industry, but it's still I guess not at the rate that it needs to be. So I mean, so the answer is no to that question. I don't think he should, I'm sure he has things that he still needs to fix as him on his person, but I don't think we should shun him out for trying to do something that great. I just don't see it at all.
Yeah, and those topics we were kind of talking about in the last podcast about our outlook on therapy and how mental health is affecting the people in high areas that have high crime and lack of resources, and how that affects PTSD, depression, anxiety, all those things. Talk about that in the last podcast. But I mean, I do kind of agree with Miles. I mean, by no means do we condone domestic violence on either side, but everyone makes mistakes in life, and my idea behind that is like as long as he owned up to what he did and he apologized and he's moving forward and he's not continuously doing it over and over again, like he's actually progressing to be a better person. I feel as if like we should be aware of what he did and but still try to move forward with him, especially if he's trying to do something great in the community. If he's trying to like you said, mental health, like providing mental health is very expensive, like therapy, medication, all of these are very expensive. So for him to pay for that, pay for kids that, or just young adults who are struggling with that, I mean that's very impactful. And so, like I said, by no means we condone any of those things, but everybody has things that like they may have done wrong, and like our job is to not judge, but to look at them, help them progress, show them what they did wrong so that they can do better, and so that other people can use that as an example of what not to do in future situations. So, I guess to talk about my part of the question, my nonprofit is called Our New Journey. I'm working on the website right now to get that up, and basically just focused on, because growing up, once again we kind of spoke about it in the last podcast, but growing up, I really didn't know about mental health. Like I didn't know what depression and anxiety was. I didn't even know what psychology was like that. I heard of it, but it was like something that we heard in like TV shows, and we really didn't like pay it no mind. And in high school, like we really didn't care about stuff like that. And those things are very important to your health, because it's, in my opinion, just as important as physical health. And so I didn't learn about that until basically my junior year of college. So I went all the way until I was like 20 years old, 19 years old, while even knowing what those things were. And so in my nonprofit, I want to kind of shape it towards like going into the community and going to all these school systems, because some schools actually have classes based on that. But those are usually schools in areas that have more money, more funds and stuff to able to pay for those programs. But a lot of schools don't. And so
that's
I want
the
to
good thing about G Herbo's thing. Like it's in the inner city communities. Not to cut you off, but
no, you're good. Yeah. So I mean, just like what G Herbo is doing basically, but I want to do that like on a bigger scale. Like I want to dedicate, to go out there and just educate certain communities that may not be well versed. Which sadly enough, but usually a lot of therapists and like a lot of psychiatrists and a lot of researchers don't really focus on the Black community. And so I kind of want to put that spotlight on the Black community to help us like elevate, any way I can, because that's my realm. So I want to help people elevate in that. So that's really just the purpose behind that. So if you guys are interested, hopefully I have a website up soon. But yeah, it's like I said earlier, like we encourage comments, because we can talk about it during the podcast. We can reply through comments. We're gonna have people up here soon sharing their.
Yeah, I appreciated that comment, because I can understand how you could I guess feel that way about somebody, but like that's just personally not my take on life. Like because if you examine everyone's life, it's gonna be something like that you probably don't that you disagree with, just because that's not that's not you. You probably disagree with some of the stuff that you've done, or probably the way you think. So yeah, like certain things, like I understand, but like I feel like that's something like you said, if it's not repetitive and like he's learned from it, then that's definitely something that you could put on the back burner.
Yeah, so especially in the Black community.
And we need as much light as we can get right now. So you trying to shine, we're trying to shine out all this hate. So we need as much light as we can. So
yeah, especially in the Black community, we want to make sure that if there's figures out here who are trying to do well, certain things gonna come out. Like some people are gonna put some stuff out and be like, hey, like they did this in the past, or they're doing this right now, and like that needs to be you need to pay attention to those things, and those things need to be handled. But if they're trying to grow and learn from that, and like they're righting their wrongs, and they're trying to benefit the Black community in some way, it's still good to support them, because they're trying to do right. Like just like Miles said, everybody has skeletons in the closet. Sometimes we gotta practice forgiveness. As long as he forgives her, she forgives him, and they're working on something better, we can do the same. So
and I think I was saying this. I don't know when I was saying this, but like I feel like we're more, judgmental on our own and more forgiving for other races towards us, that do things towards us than we are towards each other. And I don't know. I just feel like that's something that we can all work on, like build some trust within each other, or just building up some, being forgetful, of what things that other people are doing, rather.
Yeah, but I guess what do you think would be what would be the source of those trust issues between each other. Because the way it sounds is that something that we kind of just developed. So now I'm thinking like, where did that come from? You think?
I think it's like when the community, like we didn't have to depend on each other. Like, you know, I want to say after like segregation ended, I guess like I feel like trust has dropped down like tremendously. Like each, you know, like decade after, like I guess especially after like the 70s and stuff, like after the whole Black Power movement, like things, you know, we just been broken apart and like things happen to our community, you know, and it's like kind of divide. Like some people, you know, they're becoming middle class, you know, some people feeling like too uppity for their own, like, and then, you know, you got some people like in certain communities, like they're in impoverished communities where like, I guess a lot of, you know, like they flood the areas with drugs and they flooded, you know, areas with those drugs, and then they arrested, you know, millions of people, and that just broke up family structures. And that breaking up family structures is like, you know, we don't have any, I guess, like, you know, we might lose a lot of fathers, a lot of mothers too, and like, you know, like kids raising themselves, and just like, I don't know, no guidance in the community. Community's just not like, you know, a place to thrive in, you know.
Yeah.
It's just not a, you know, place.
So I mean, so I'm hearing is more so is like a role models, and then like we kind of like settled, like after, you know, because there's a lot of things distracting everything. Like there's social medias, the internet, kind of what we spoke about. And people are like intertwined with their own lives. Like now that we're able to be freer and do more things and be able to move around, that we could have possibly settled down and like forgot about, you know, our unity that kind of got us here. Like, and probably now that we're here in a time where like things are getting pretty rough out there, and now everybody's forced to look at it. Now we're kind of getting back to that where we're being more united. But the trust also, I think the trust issue also could come from the fact that like we're very competitive amongst each other, versus, I mean, because we have like a mentality where like we have to do whatever it takes to make it out of something, out of a situation.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And so we kind of push other people aside trying to get there. But in actuality, we can build in a way that we can get all of us there, or whoever wants to get up to that upper level, you know, talk about middle class, you know, upper class, like having
just
a
having
business.
some comfort.
Like we can all do that together, but we have the mentality that we have to push each other down or beat somebody to the punch, because there's only like a few amount of spots we feel in these areas, because they're like white owned businesses and stuff, so there's not many spots that we feel like we can get, so we have to be the best of the best to even get there. But
and then I feel like some people be resentful, be like, man, I had to do this and that to get there, man.
Yeah.
You gonna have to do the same. It wasn't no handout for me, so
yeah.
I can't just be, you know, putting you on game. And I just feel like that's some selfish stuff that people really need to let go. You know, that's what they call the crabs in the barrel mentality. You know, like crabs in the bucket, crabs in the barrel, one of the two. But
I think it's the barrel, bucket,
whatever. But like,
yeah.
I mean, you know what happens? Like, you see crabs, they're trying to get out of the barrel. You know, they don't want to. They know it's gonna happen to them, but so they, you know, they don't want to see someone make it out. Like, you know, we all finna go through this together. And it's like, why not do that on the opposite? Why don't we all like try to get out together? You know.
But I mean, even then, I mean, just like I was saying, like a while back, like just because, you know, because some people, like, we're born into different positions. Like some people are born into a better position than others. That's just how it is. Like, you know, your parents maybe had like more opportunities to do more things, and so like you're born into something. So if you're born into a position that you're able to make change and do a little more than the other, do that so that the other person can have a pathway to get there, because they may need more help to get there than like you did. So like for me to say, oh yeah, I worked so hard to like do this, and you need to do the same. Yeah, hard work is good. You have to earn what you get, but you know, some people don't have the opportunity that you had, and so if you truly want to help the community, you have to open a pathway and guide people to like where you're at, or to show them how to do it. So
that's just be a due diligence. Like, if you've been through it, and like you can help somebody through it, coach somebody through it, you can be a mentor.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, that's big nowadays. You know, mentorship, or, you know, just having a coach, like whatever lanes you want to go.
Yeah.
So that's something that you definitely should look into, or, you know, start doing. I'm trying to start doing that. You know, just reaching out. You know, now that I graduated, you know, kids still in school. You know, they might be feeling unsure about a major or unsure about, you know, certain decisions. So, you know, I'm trying to start reaching out, you know, folks that I don't really know that I might seen in a couple meetings that I went to. Like, just followed somebody on Instagram recently, like, that I saw he was speaking at some event, but I followed him. And the reason I followed him because he was speaking, he was saying that he wants to get into student government, and like where he's from, everyone was looking at him crazy. He's from New Orleans, and he was like, everyone was like in his community was looking at him crazy, like, why you want to get involved in the government, politics and stuff, you know, and just shunning him for doing that. And like, oh, he was saying that, you know, he's going to LSU, and he's like, oh, you think you're better than us? And I was like, man, that's crazy. Like, that's crazy to think about. It's crazy to go to, because like, you know, out here where I'm from, like, it was like I received a total opposite of that. So it's like, oh yeah, you know, it's big, like, you know, congratulations and stuff like that, you know, and just uplifting messages. So, you know, so I just want to reach out to him. So that's something that I'm currently trying to do right now.
It's all about the perceptions. Like we kind of mentioned that a lot. Like the perceptions, like how you see things. Like everybody has a different perspective and viewpoint of life because where they come from and like who their mentor figures. And like some people don't even have mentors; just have people that are in their lives. But like that perspective kind of leads to like how they view certain things and like how that area, how they like kind of lead you and how they raise people. And so like you said, like here, like in the area that we're in, we're more in like a suburban area, like we're in Gwinnett County, and so like people kind of encourage stuff like that.
But yeah, I feel like it's even deeper than like the area. I mean, like the area has something to do with it, but like I don't know. It's like the people that my parents know, and then the friends that I would decide to make. Like that plays a big factor.
So like the choices you make to get there, or
no, not the choices that I made. Like the choices and the friends that I made. Like, you know, some people be having, you know, shicey friends, or you know, friends that don't, like, you know, they just friends for whatever reasons. They don't really even know why they friends. You know what I'm saying? But I just feel like I was saying in the other episode, like I just believe in friendship so much, and like I just feel like my friends group is just like such a tight clique. So it's like it was never none of that to begin with, you know. And I guess it's good that I had the opportunity to meet people like that, but like I don't know, we kind of naturally gravitate towards each other, and I really don't. It's like I don't know. I guess I see what type of person someone is, like, you know, kind of off the bat. Like I guess I got a good eye for that.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I didn't even really have to cut too many people off, but I just grew some nice bonds, and my parents, and, you know, I guess they're the same way, so I guess that's where I get it from. So like, you know, whether it's like the people in my church, you know, that's a big part of it too. You know, being in church, a lot of people, you know, they're uplifting in the church, you know, and my folks just being, you know, the type of people they are. So it's just like, you know, love coming from all over the place. So it's like, I think it's not just the location, just like who you are as a person, or, you know, location is part of it, but it's like who you are as a person.
Well, yeah,
who the people that you choose to be around or are around, like how are they, like, so they can bring, you know, some uplifting spirits towards you as well. So
yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with that.
Like just because you, like, I'm basically saying, like, just because you're in the suburbs don't mean like people ain't gonna try to, you know, mess you over, or try to, you know what I'm saying? It's people out here doing, like, they doing things too, like, you know, they pretending to be friends. Like, I mean, we seen it go on. We have a lot going. You know, we had a lot of different random things come from our school, like from people. You be like, well, what? They really try to do that? Like, you know, not to call anybody else, so I'm not gonna really go into details. But you be like, dang, that really happened, or like, you know, just like the loss, even like loss of lives, and, you know, a couple people from our school, like, you know, from, you know, shootings and stuff. He like crazy. You thought that wouldn't be around here, but it's still like, it still goes on. So it's like you still gotta make wise decisions as far as that, and I feel like that can help building church. But the question I got for you, like, the situation I just mentioned about the dude from New Orleans, could you, like, would you feel like that lower your trust, like, towards people, or like, how would you go about that? Because I feel like you and I, like, we're both some naturally, like, trusting people, like, you know, off the bat. Well, at least that's how I feel like I am for the most part. But do you feel like you're that type of person as well?
Oh yeah, I feel like I am, and I think whenever, so there's a lot of boundaries, not boundaries,
Factors.
No, there's a lot of boundaries that need to be broken through when it comes to like the Black community. Like, there's a lot of work that we need to do within ourselves, and so I think whenever there's a lot of backlash and something that you feel like is positive, you're just kind of like you're paving way for something. So for example, like for him, you say he's doing student government and stuff, and people, and like that's a good thing. Like if you saw somebody in the news like doing that, you'd be like, yeah, he's doing a good thing. Like that's positive.
The thing
So-
that's never making the news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is also an issue. But like, yeah. So I guess for people to kind of go against him and say how like, why are you doing that? Like it's a waste of time. It just means that they don't see what you're doing yet, and it could be groundbreaking. It could be something that could like really change a lot of things. So that means you're kind of going to be one of the leaders of that. And so if it's positive, you feel like it's positive, if like you're helping part of the community, you gotta push forward. And so I think, you know, it is a little discouraging to like hear stuff like that, but like you also have to know that like we're trying to start new things, and we're trying to build things, we're trying to help the community and show them new things we can do to like help each other. And
So you feel like that's part of the process, basically, like
yeah,
receiving
it's
the
part of the
backlash,
process.
like,
Yeah,
you
because
barriers.
I'm pretty sure before me, like even with mental health, like I said, that's kind of like just like my realm. Like I'm pretty sure there was like philosophers and psychologists who were talking about mental health, and people were like we don't want to hear that. Like that's a white problem, and so they're pushing them aside. But now they kind of opened a path with other people to look at it and say, hey, like they have something valid is going on here. And so that continues on. Now there's more advocates, more people like that could be a reason why I'm here right now. 'Cause I see other people doing it, and like I agree with them, and like I had the similar ideas, and so like that's gonna be same for him. Like possibly like if he executes it properly, he'll have this, and he'll have like more of a team with him, and more people are gonna follow suit. You know,
That's a good point. That we're supposed to expect to receive backlash. Like,
yeah,
that's part
especially
of-
with something new. Yeah,
especially you being a new person, in the black community, or just not, done a lot, or just, being black in general, you're gonna see a little extra backlash. So I guess.
but also we gotta hold each other accountable, because like that shouldn't be. I mean, it's gonna happen naturally, but just like I said, like that crab in the barrel mentality, like you don't want to have that. You want to be able to support people, like because I mean, kind of was talking about earlier about like having like those few spots, like we have the opportunity to like make our own movements, like our own businesses, our own spots. Like we can make a whole, like we can control everything we want, like within ourselves. Like we won't have to feel as if like, oh, he's doing this, like it sounds good, but how come I ain't do that? Like you don't have to think like
Oh
that.
yeah, definitely not.
Yeah, like you can just see like hey, he's starting a movement. This is gonna open up things for all of us. That's how you should see it. Like it's gonna open up new jobs for us. It's gonna open up like new findings. It's gonna help us get closer, like be more united, be more intelligent. Like it's gonna help us like have more insight. And so you see that and you support that and you want to be a part of that. Like don't like talk bad about it. Like it's,
Yeah, to be about, join it. Like, I guess to say you can't beat them, join it. Like, you shouldn't even really be trying to beat them. Like, you know what I'm saying? You should be trying to join it. That's what we need. And I think that's what I was trying to talk about earlier. Like, just with communities, like, certain, like, if you haven't seen things happen, you're not gonna believe, it can happen really. Like, that's natural. I feel like from anybody in any race and anything, like, you ain't seen it happen. Like, everyone tells a story of, like, before the first person went under the 4-minute mile thing, like everyone thought it was impossible. Everyone thought that, your heart would explode or, you die or something. The first person did it. Then when the next year or two, or I think in the same year, like, people just started doing it and it just became a frequent thing. And like, well, not frequent, but way more frequent than not happening at all. Probably like 20-something people in the next year, like, and now like that's what people do. But like before it was like, just breaking these barriers and limits. Like, oh man,
barriers.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, you can never do that. Like, why would you even try to do that? Or like, oh man, you're not gonna make a difference doing that. Like, and I just think that's like something that we have to like, work on as a community. Like, you never know what we could do until you get into a place where you can actually do something. So, it's gonna take steps to get there, but you never know someone's final picture. You know what I'm saying? So you can't really hate. Like, that's just like, I don't think you should hate on their goals and stuff, hate on their dreams, basically. But the question for you is like, I know I've been in little meetings and stuff, and it's like I heard students say that, like, they try to express their mental health to their parents and stuff. Like some people, the older generation, don't really, I don't know if they don't know about it, or they don't believe about it, or they just don't want to have the time to take out to discuss it. But like we were saying, receiving backlash, like feel like you see any backlash, like saying, "Oh, yeah, this is what I'm doing. I'm pursuing, a doctorate in psychology." Have you received any backlash from like any older people, or they be like, not necessarily backlash, but you like, why are you doing that? Like any whys from like any family members or anybody in general?
Well, so my family is like pretty supportive of that, but so in the realm of psychology that I'm in, there's a lot of philosophy in it too. So it's psychology and philosophy, and so the only thing that I would get was I would get like certain looks, like when I say that I'm studying like psychology and philosophy, they'll say like, why are you doing that? Like all you can do is be a teacher with that. Like they kind of like push aside like the importance of it, because like it could be because they don't know much about it. All they know is that there's psychology teachers and philosophy teachers. Like they don't know what you can do with it. They don't know the importance of it, because all those things are like studying like your being, like who you are. And it's very important to study people and know why they do things and who they are, and study yourself, know who you are and why you're doing things. So I haven't received much backlash. Also because my friend group is pretty accepting, obviously. So,
but not a backlash, but just like why, like any whys.
Yeah. I mean, they get whys, and like they'll ask me why I want to do this and like what's the importance of it. But also is like, I think we spoke about it before. Like it's kind of discouraging because it's a field that's like predominantly like white in a sense, and so when I'm at school, sometimes I feel like out of place, and it's kind of difficult to like set your identity, because like it's not really a familiar area. But I feel like that's a lot of professions, but it would be good to have like that support and that guidance, because I also feel as if I lack some guidance. Like I don't have a lot of people that I can go to and talk to about stuff like this, because this is an area in which people have crossed. I'm not the first one, obviously, but there's not a lot to the point where I can just call somebody and say, hey, like, what to do with this. So like people aren't really familiar with it, so I wouldn't get like a lot of whys and like, what are you gonna do with this, and like, how are you gonna do this? And it's a very long process. So people also don't like the fact that it's 8 years, 9 years of schooling. Like it's very long to even get there. So I have gotten some questions towards it, but I feel like mainly because of my support group.
So does that make you like not want to trust them, or make you not want to open up and tell people, hey, this is what I'm doing and stuff like that?
No, I feel as if it'll make me want to trust them. Not trust them, but it'll make me want to push harder to show them, because I see that because of that, like there's some disparity in knowledge between me and them, and so like like I always want to kind of add to that and like teach them so that they could understand like where I'm coming from, like a whole new world, because this is a whole new world, like a whole new realm of study that people don't know about until like, because these are things that if you don't know about it, you won't search for it. And so because I have it and people are like kind of saying like, why are you doing this? I feel like it's my obligation to be like, hey, like let me show you how to do this. So I don't even put that into the trust factor. I just say like, this is my obligation to like help you learn about this, because it's important. It'll help you, help your family. You probably help somebody else with it. But before we continue on, we got something very important we gotta discuss with the Breonna Taylor case.
Right.
You want to speak
There
about
was a
it?
verdict. I believe that was just yesterday, and basically only one officer was charged, not for the shots hitting Breonna Taylor, but the shots hitting a white person's home, and I believe shots had also hit another black person's home, but only was charged for the white person's home, and it wasn't charged for actually hitting a person. Like,
Yeah.
so it's like, I mean, I've seen a lot of outrage, definitely well deserved yesterday. Like, that's definitely like, it's okay to be mad. Like, people can't tell you how to feel about certain things, because like, I mean, if you got mad, like say you was reading, I don't know what book I was reading, but it was like, if someone got mad, you was studying the Holocaust, and someone, a certain instance like recorded, like, with specifics and details, and you'd be like, dang, that's messed up. Yeah, oh man, that pisses me off. Like, no one will look at you like sideways for doing that, but it's like, when we going through pain and traumas, like we looked at sideways for being angry about it, and it's like we living in it. So it's like, you don't feel like you shouldn't be mad. You can't. I don't feel like you can judge people. They do if they're acting out, with the anger. Whether it's going down the streets, and protesting. I guess they call it violent protesting, but it's not really
Yeah.
towards people, I guess towards objects, you know. But I mean, I feel like we got the right to feel that way, and we should feel that way because it's like, I mean, this was a long, drawn out process, and like, I mean, obviously, this case, you know, this type of situation happens, like, you know, unarmed black people getting killed all the time, but it's like, I feel like people felt more hope with this situation.
Because it was televised, and then
like the press behind it,
yeah,
it's ridiculous. Like it's like, and then they still, you do a little settlement. I think it was $12 million settlement, but it's like, I mean, I was telling somebody $12 million, like, okay, you got that money, but it's not helping fix the problem. Like that's not helping fix the problem. Like
$12 million is worth somebody's life.
Yeah, that too. But it's like, okay, the police officers, they don't feel like they're not gonna learn from it. Like, what do you learn from that? Like, oh yeah, okay, I mistakenly shot somebody or whatever, and it's like, okay, well, I didn't get in trouble for it, so I mean, what's the big deal? Like, I don't want to stop.
That's
like,
the thing. It's the consequences. Like people are gonna keep doing things if there's no consequences behind their actions.
Yeah.
And so that the consequence, like the verdict that was given out was minor compared to what they should have gotten.
Right.
And so because of that, like I believe it said it was like 152 days. I'm not really sure the exact date, but like it was a lot of days that people were waiting and like they were hoping for something.
We were protesting it.
Yeah.
We went down there marching. That was in the summer, at the beginning of summer.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like, it's finna be October now, so it's like, yes, it was a very, like, I mean, it's like, it took over all the sports, like, you know, NBA, like, it was everywhere, like, I mean, it hit other countries and stuff, like, it's just crazy how they just, and it's like, I mean, America's showing their true colors, and like, I feel like that's better, though, than, like, they're hiding and pretending like that's not who they really are, like, because I feel like, for a while, people feel like racism wasn't like really a thing anymore. Like, oh, it's died down. That's nothing. Like, it doesn't exist. But like, no, it's there, and they showing you, they blatantly just do not care. Like, it's like you can. It's like certain people, like certain instances, you will pretend to care.
Yeah.
Like you could, like you don't even pretend. Like you don't have it in your heart to pretend like art, man, they on our backs right now. Like they doing all this, they doing all that. And man, we gotta make something shake. We gotta act like, you know, we gotta do this one thing, like just to, you know, get them off our backs. But they don't care. Like they 0%. Like they care 0%. Like they don't care at all.
It just really amazes me how like the spotlight could be on America to make the right decision and they fumble it completely.
Every
time.
They
just drop like it just fumble every time. Like if there was a time to attempt to make some progress and like us moving forward and showing that we get some form of justice, it would be now. They felt every single time in the past. This would be the one time to say, all right, like we hear what y'all saying. Y'all been marching in the streets for months on end, and like this is when we're gonna show you that like we hear y'all, and like we're gonna try and make some difference. And they fumbled it completely. Like there was like by no means was there any justice given like in the situation.
And like I said, like I mean, in America, you expect this to happen, but it's like.
Yeah,
this is a different case. This is just, I don't know, it felt different, man. I just felt like at the end, like something will come through, and like after it came through, like once they did that settlement, I think they did that like last week. I was like, man, they BSing around, man. Because I mean, so what did you give the settlement to her family for? Like, you gave her a settlement for what? Like, what was the settlement for? For shooting the neighbor's house? Because if it was for shooting the neighbor's house, then you would have gave the money to the neighbors. So it's like. What's going on here? Like,
it's like money to get them to stop complaining about it, or just like. But the thing is, like, I feel like.
But like, how would that even work? Like, you think you really thought that was gonna shush? Like, even if that shushed her family up, which I'm sure it wouldn't, because they would obviously feel it the most. But like, and people are still talking about this. I mean, at the end of the game yesterday, LeBron spoke on it. Like, people were still asking about it. Like, it's still a problem. It's still aware. Like, people are knowing. They thought that was gonna do something. Like, what is that gonna do? Like, I don't know, man. That's just.
Yeah,
I feel like that's discouraging. I try not to get discouraged, but it's like, you know, we just out here looking for answers, and we're like, okay, like we get the press, like we got the press behind it. We blew it up. We can't blow up every story like that because you know it's just so prevalent. So it's like. What else do we do? Because that, you know, I think that was the whole point of like, you know, the movement, like like towards the beginning is like getting people to speak up on things, like, or just getting people to be aware of what's going on. And it's like, okay, well, we showed y'all that getting people aware, and like, you know, we just trying to spread awareness. Like, okay, we showed y'all spreading awareness, like didn't do anything for the cause, like for this cause. So it's like, okay, now we back to the drawing board again, you know.
Yeah, but is the press? Do you feel like the press is really for us, or is it just it's controversy and controversy sells, and like it shows us like out there marching and like, you know, well at a period of time they tried to show that we were like looting and destroying stores. I mean, I'm a little skeptical. You talk about trust, like I don't trust the news. I don't trust.
I don't trust media. I don't trust it at all. But yeah, I don't trust any of that. That's why I feel like we gotta trust ourselves. Like this is not a like, we're not in a space that we can be distrusting towards each other. Like we're just not in a space like that. Like, but back in the day, like reason I was talking about communities earlier, I think like, and before segregation, like we had no choice but to depend on each other. Like, cause it's like, so man, they're not gonna mess with you at all. Like you ain't gonna go into their communities. Ain't no living with them. They're not finna, you know, break you off. Oh, I can't, you know, afford this bread or these groceries. You know, oh, I'm gonna, you know, do this for you, do that. Like, you know, like we had to fend for ourselves. So like we had to stick together. Like, and that's where I think that saying comes from. Like, it takes a village. I mean, that's been a saying, like African proverb. Like, you know, back in the day, a couple generations, people always said that it takes a village, and I just think we need to get back to that and realize, like, I mean, we're not in this on our own. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, your decisions are yours, but like, you know, people can help guide you, you know, give you advice. And I just feel like it really takes a village and like a community, and like we gotta stick together and stuff like this. Like we gotta work on building each other up. We can't be selfish. Like, you know, like if you made it, or you know, like you done something, like you graduated, or anything that you accomplished, or you opened up a business, or you know, you started your own clothing line, like giving people tips and stuff. Like, I know it's competition. I know people gotta make it, but it's like, you know, we shouldn't be really competing with each other. Like, we gotta come together for a greater cause. Cause I mean, like, odds are stacked against us. So I don't feel like trust is something that we have to learn to build. But
yeah, I feel like now is now in a situation where like a two-step goal. Like first, because well, we talk about the first step. The first step would be for us to work on each other, like to work within the community, to work on things that we know that there are issues that we need to fix, so we can be more united and be more educated as like a whole. But then also we have to learn how to, well, it's not really on us, it's really on, you know, everyone, but find a way for all of us to get along in some way, shape, or form, and for us to like accept each other. So first is accepting each other as a community, and then we need to figure out a way for everyone to accept each other as a whole. Because, you know, I don't want to, you know, stop speaking about school. Like, I don't want to go to school and feel uncomfortable because, like, there's not a lot of black folks there. I want to feel comfortable just in general. Like, everywhere I go, like, the goal is to feel comfortable. Like, all we want is to feel comfortable and feel, like, equal. And so, right now, like, it's not that. And so, the two steps, like I said, I would think it would be for us to work on each other so that we can be more united, because right now, all we have is each other. And then the next step is I would want to find a way for all of us to get along in some way, shape, or form. But I know that's been a goal for so long and has been working. But I mean, I think what I'm struggling with, and what like a lot of people are struggling with, is like the battle between disappointment and like some hope / like faith or like optimism. Because like we're very disappointed because it keeps happening over and over and over again. But then when something like this happens, we still have some like a slither of hope by saying, all right, like they might change something. But then we get disappointed again. So it's like a cycle of just keep same thing happening over and over again. And so like that's something that like is just really tiresome. Like it's really tiresome for me to keep going through that cycle over and over again. But I mean, I would really hope that we could find a way to empower each other, and then like as a community, and then find a way for us to get along as one. And
another thing, that's why I feel like, I mean, like just being in America and like, you know, I guess Western society, they would say, is that like, I don't know, we got like a lot of independence.
It's more
going on, like that's like the trend like, you know, just get independent, like,
Individualistic.
just get everything for yourself. Like, you know, in other cultures, it's just like more, you know, like
Collective.
yeah, they're like it's so strong, family oriented, and I feel like we gotten away from that, and we need to get back, you know, and that's something I was alluding to too, like, you know, with, you know, the mass incarceration rates, like that's just breaking up family homes, and like how you gonna have a community without a family, like, you know what I'm saying, like it starts with the family, like, you know, the person, it goes to the, you know, individuals, then it goes to family, then that's the community, then it goes to community. So that's what I was saying earlier, like you're destroying the families, that there's a disconnect there. That's why, you know, we just got like a couple single people, you know, we got a couple families, but it's not communities and stuff. So it's like, yeah, I mean that's another thing I'm big on, honestly, like that mass incarceration, like that's one of the biggest deals to me too. But you know,
well, we can get into that because that's definitely a big topic. But I mean, what would you think we can do with the situation? Like, what can we do moving forward? That's kind of what I'm thinking, because we're already marching, we already got petitions, the spotlight was on it. It was all waiting for a decision, and they fumbled it. So what do we do now? Because like what I'm seeing is, and like what I'm hearing is, like it's like a lot of violence going on, like killing cops now, and like there's a lot of like riots going on, which, you know, I'm not for violence. I'm more of a like non-violent type.
as far as the killing cops, was that you talking about the LA situation?
Yeah, but yeah, I'm talking, yeah.
But I don't know how correlated that was to like the cause. Like I don't think that was like someone like, man, I think that was like some like, you know, as part of like, you know, the job, or like situations that can't happen in the job. Like someone was really just trying to get away. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's what that was.
But just in general, I guess, like, because I guess they try to portray that we're all here, like, being extremely violent and stuff.
Hey, man. I mean, I understand rioting. I feel like that should be done too. But I, honestly, you know, me, I've always been like towards like, I guess the any means necessary type.
Yes, and I'm the one that's more on the non-violent.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna
But like,
figure out a strategical way.
I don't put violence first, and like, but I understand the rioting. Like, I'm with that. I feel that. But it's like they said, like hate's not gonna drive out. Like, you know, hate's not gonna drive out hate. Like they say that. Like I've been feeling that lately. Like the last 2 days, I'm like, man, that hate, like, it's not gonna, like, you know, it's not gonna fix it. Like it will not fix it. Like you know, you having hate towards, you know, other race, like that's not gonna fix it. Like you don't have to, you know what I'm saying, like, I guess be like 100% open arms with everything, you know, towards white people. Obviously, it should be a distrust factor based on the things that's happened. Like that's gonna be a guarantee. So no one's saying not to be that way, but like, just like hate white people, or, you know, just doing, you know, a lot of hateful acts. Like we're not gonna be able to out hate.
Well, we are.
That's not who we are, number one. But that's like, but I feel like we would have been did like some outrageous things if that's who we are. But it's like that cycle doesn't end. Like, okay, boom, you got a friend. You know, something happens to that friend, like say, you know, they get shot in violence, so say you in the gang, you gonna go back and take someone's life out of their community or out of their friend group, and that's like, that's a vicious cycle. Like, and people say like the beef ain't ever over. Like,
I mean, the thing is,
beef
like,
is not gonna end. Like when we didn't forget what you did, so like, man, don't think it's over. Like it's never gonna stop. Like, so it's like,
yeah, it's a marathon. It's like we said, like this isn't a race. Like this isn't like a life for a life, or. But I mean, I do understand. I mean, we're going through betrayal. Like it's grief. Like we're angry because like it just happened fresh. People are like, yeah, no, we're gonna try to figure out a way to get like our results now. Like we want things to change now, which is completely understandable because like this is unjust. Like this shouldn't be happening. But I mean, this is a marathon at this point, and like we aren't that. Like we aren't the people. Like the only time we ever used force was when we were like pushed against the wall and we had to just to survive. That's the only time Black Panthers, all of them, like bring like guns and stuff to like protesters because they know that other people are coming armed and like they want to be able to protect like their people. But I feel like as a whole, like they try to paint us as like this very like violent group of people that are
I feel like that's part of the reason like we don't trust each other, like, because the media can get in your head subconsciously. Because I know I see certain things and I be like, and I be thinking like I'm just having this judgment on this person, my own Black brother or sister, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not even like that. Like, where did that thought even come from? Like, that's not a thought of my own. Like, that's not my thought at all. Like, why am I feeling this way? You know, why would I feel that way? And it's like, you know, you gotta check the subconscious. Like, you know, I give y'all a little homework. Like, when you going out, you know, just throughout your day, throughout your weeks, and like just see when you see like certain demographic of people, like, you know, well, black people to be specific. You see a black person with a lot, so you see a black person with colored hair, or like, you know,
just anyone really,
just,
like, yeah, like,
see like
yeah,
what comes to your head, like,
yeah,
subconsciously. You think any, like, if it's not positive, you know, and that's another thing I'm talking about with the church. If it's not positive, it's like, what made me think this negative thought, or like, man, like, oh, this person ghetto, or you know, they might be trying to, you know, rob me or rob something, or they might be trying to, you know, up to no good, or they might be of this career, you know what I'm saying? They probably ain't doing this. Like, you don't know what someone is on the inside by looking at the outside. You have no idea. Like, you'll be totally shocked. And it's like, what are you thinking when you see a person dressed a certain way? Like, okay, like, look, we got this all black on, but
yeah, that's a very good point.
yeah, like, you got this all black on, like, okay, what do you think when you see them? Like, you know, it's like you gotta retrain your mind. That's something also I've been working on. Like, okay, I'm thinking something, I shouldn't be thinking this way about my own people. Like, I haven't experienced that. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? I know the media's gonna put it out like, oh, you know, the media's not on our side. They gonna put it out that black people do this. Like, it's just, that's all they're capable of. And the media doesn't even spread any, you know, good news anyways. You know, and that's something we gotta work on doing, like, I guess on social media, for those that are really active in social media, like spreading, you know, good news, like, you know, spreading some positivity. But like I said, the media's not for it, so it's not gonna do that. And so you just gotta check your subconscious, like, man, what do I think? Why do I think that? Because like, we already know how they think. Like, okay, you got a black woman with colored hair, it's like, oh yeah, this is ghetto. But you see a white woman with colored hair, it's like, oh, that's artistic. Like, it's already coming off that in the media, and people know that. But you gotta check yourself and be like, dang, that's in my head already. So you gotta say something positive, like, think something positive of that person in that situation, you know. So
yeah, I mean,
that's kind of something
I mean,
I like
really,
to do to, like, kind of, I guess, help build trust in certain instances. Like, you shouldn't, like, I don't feel like you should be on like 10 all the time, like, guarding, you know, 10 toes, like, just be like, oh yeah, I'm just frightened, or just thinking negatively, really. Like,
I mean, you don't really know somebody until you know them. So I mean, even those situations, I feel like it's movies, it's the news, there's a lot of different outlets. It's music. It's a lot of different outlets where, like, we're just expressing ourselves or just making art, and like, they don't know us well, and so they take that stuff and they kind of run with it. And so whenever situations where, like, there is crime, or because everybody, like, is capable of doing crime no matter what race you like.
Right.
Everybody's capable of murder, stealing, like I mean, we're humans. Like, it's not right, but like, people do it. And so whenever there's some validation to, like, what they think that, like, we're all about, they're gonna post it and they're gonna keep showing it, and like, that's
and the headlines be ridiculous,
yeah,
man. The difference in the headlines are the same thing. Like, you know, they're gonna paint it like this is a black thing, like this is what black people do, but they're gonna, you know, like, they'll address it for a white man, like, oh, family of, father of, you know what I'm saying? Like, try to make it, you know, they'll post a good family picture. You know, just killed his wife and kids, and he gonna post a good little picture of them, like, in the past, like, oh, something like that, you know. And I feel like we judge a book by its cover, like, towards each other. I feel like we judging a book by its cover, and we didn't even make the cover. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you know what I'm saying? Like, we judging each other off of an image that's not even our image. Like, image that, like, you know yourself, you know you're not like that. You know people that are not like that in your community, and you know that's not the majority of the community. But here you are, you're making these judgments off a book somebody else made of your own people. And like,
yeah, it's not even our book. It's not. We're not even like the narrator, not the writer. Like, we're not. Yeah, like the author. Like, we're not, like, in charge of.
I'm telling you, man, y'all gotta try that, bro. You gotta try that, bro. Like,
yeah,
see,
no,
when you out and just think like you're not even gonna think, but a thought's gonna come in your head. You know what I'm saying? I mean, thoughts always come to my head. I'm just walking around, just not thinking of anything.
I mean, I experienced that yesterday when I walked into the store. Honestly, I had this hoodie on, and I walked in, and like, you know, like, you have like that little blue mask. I had it on, and as soon as I walked in, it was like a store where, like, everybody was kind of in the front. And as soon as I walked in, I mean, I was walking in kind of fast, you know, I walk fast. But I walked in, and everybody just paused and looked at me, like I was about to rob the place or something. Like I saw, like, some fear in their eyes, and I stopped and I paused. I looked at them, and I was like, what's going on? And I was like, but yeah, that just shows that like and I was like, but yeah, that just shows that like quickly like our like things in our unconscious like they come out because of things that they see like you could be unaware that you think of these things. That's why it's good that he mentioned that for you to try to like put that into your awareness because you could be unaware that like these are thoughts that you're having towards certain people because of like things you're unaware of like we're always watching and observing, learning things, and because of that, if the narrator or the author or writer of this book keeps giving you these words that are negative, you're taking it in and like that's life to you. Yeah. That's what life looks like to you. Mm-hmm. And so it's like everywhere we go, we're like these thoughts are going to pull out. Like we don't know where they're coming from, but it's because they're conditioned in us. Like they're conditioned in like how we think and how we see each other, which is wrong because then like it messes with our identity too. Because now we're trying to figure out a way to like not do this.
That's why I'm glad you brought that up because I was speaking of us judging other people, but you talking about receiving judgment, and that's another thing.
Yeah.
Like for instance, I know may sound petty or whatever, like, I might take a selfie, take a picture, and I'm not necessarily smiling.
Yeah.
And people be like, why are you looking mean and angry? And I'm like, mean and angry? I'm rarely angry, like, so like.
Yeah, but it could be also,
about,
that's how they see you. They probably see the long hair and the beard, and they're like, like he definitely
I don't know what it is. Like, I'll be like, mean and angry, like, I'm just not smiling, like, is that really, like, because I see myself, like, I don't know, I be seeing myself, like, I feel like I'm kind of, like, innocent to that degree, like, so I'm like, man, what you talking about, like, what you mean, definitely. Like, and just like you said, like, going into the stores and stuff, and I just, you can feel my eyes on you, and I just feel like, they're just trying to, and that's kind of like low, I guess, vibrational energy, people would say, but, like, that makes you feel like, I don't know, to me, like, kind of ashamed, like, like, why these, like, damn, I can't even go into the store, or, like, I can't even just be me, and it's like, you have to, like, overpower that, you have to be so comfortable being you that, like, man, you just, man, like, okay, you see it, you acknowledge it, but, like, all right, it's over, like, don't, like, we gotta try not to, dwell on that, because, those eyes, they on us, like, we got the black on, I wear a lot of black all the time, so, like, and just being black, man, I remember me and my friend, we was studying. It was finals week. We was studying at the engineering building. We had just came from the car. We got some Chick-fil-A in our hand, book bags on our back, and like we was walking back to the building, but then we forgot something, so we walked back to the car and then was about to walk across the street back into the building. And by the time we did that, like cops came, like someone rode up on a bike with us. He stopped us. Then 2 more cop cars came. The cop had a hand on his gun. Like, are y'all students here? Like, man, we got Chick-fil-A.
But that's LSU too. So
yeah, but it's like, come on, man. I'm on campus one.
Yeah, on campus.
So what am I trying to get? Like, I'm gonna hit a bank on campus. 2, like what I'm gonna steal some chemicals or something. Like, what am I about to take? 3, we got Chick-fil-A in our hands. What criminals? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what did you like? Why are you acting like that? Like, what criminals is finna have Chick-fil-A like in their hands? Like, you know what I'm saying?
And speaking of that,
it was just a crazy situation. I'm like, dude got his hand on his gun. It's 2 y'all in the cars. Another one is hand on his gun. And then it's another one on his bike standing in the way. And I'm like, come on, man, this is on campus, bro. Like, what are we about to do?
And that makes me think too. We attack the police for what they're doing, which is wrong. And this may sound, but I want you guys to really think about this. We attack the police because like what they're doing is wrong. They're killing unarmed black people, but the same things we see, they probably see too. Like they're being trained and like they're programmed to think that we are these aggressive maniac like people that just run around and do crazy things like murder, steal, like all these like asinine things. And so like their perception of that is probably the same because they see it. They see it like in the movies, they see it in the news. So like just like us, how like we see people and we're like, all right, like what's this person up to? Not even wanting to do that, but it just happens because like they're trying to condition our minds. It could be the same for them. Like their minds are conditioned to think the same way. Not justifying anything they're doing because that's still wrong, but we need to find a way to change that because obviously like the effect of
media
that
is powerful, man.
Yeah, and the effect of that is taking people's lives. Like it's costing people their lives. For police officers to think that way, people are dying. For us to think that way, we could change that. It's minimal because we don't have our hands like no one's lives in our hands.
Power and confusion, power and ignorance.
Exactly.
That's just the recipe for disaster. Power and ignorance.
Yeah, and so it's like they have somebody's lives in their hands, and because like our perception, we could say, all right, we're aware of this. We need to change this because we don't even want to think this way, or like we don't want to be like okay, like what is this dude doing? Like walking behind me like too close or something like that. Like you don't want to have those thoughts, but
we understand in like certain aspects, like you might be in like certain areas, or like you know what I'm saying. If you're like an unknown, place where it shouldn't be, like say you down, I don't know, like it's late at night, that's okay to think like late at night in certain situations, but like every situation, like okay, I'm in the grocery store, or I'm in the corner store, or I'm at the store every day, like or you know what I'm saying, just places that's comfortable. Like these thoughts, like you gotta, you just gotta check them, put them in check. And
check them. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's obviously it's natural to be, a little uneasy on places that you've never been.
We need to have experience, but we need to have real life experiences that change our perceptions. Like you may not even know, like you say, man, somebody with dreads or something like that. Like you don't know who that is. Yeah. Like you don't know what he brings to the table. You don't know who he is. Like until you meet him, until you talk to him, until like you learn his beliefs, his values, all that stuff. Like you don't know who that is. And so don't like whenever you have those thoughts or like any thoughts, because we need to check ourselves first, and we need to check ourselves as a community, have more trust, and then we can talk. And then we need to talk about them checking themselves towards us. Yeah. But first, we need to look and see like what's going on between us. And so,
it's like we said, it's not like you malicious, like you're doing it
not
intentionally. But like I mean, like we're all subject to, I guess different program or just different ways of thinking. So
yeah.
I mean, that might not be a problem for you. You might never think like that. You never thought like that. But I'm sure. I mean, I know I've been in certain instances that I see these things and I think, what I'm saying. You just gotta
why?
check yourself.
Yeah. Always ask your question.
I'm like, man, I'm not like I don't even really think that, but it's like a thought in my head. So it must be something that's reoccurred and that I've seen or someone else saying, and it's like, man, I gotta get that out. So it's like to get that out. You know what I'm saying? You gotta replace it with some positive thoughts, someone positive that you've seen. Would you have someone positive you seen with their hair dyed, you know what I'm saying? Someone positive driving this type of car, something positive, like you gotta replace it, because you can't just like first you gotta know about it, see the awareness, and then once you replace it, we can start to change things in that way. So
yeah,
I feel in that.
Yeah,
I feel that for sure. But you think I'm trying to think, trust and vulnerability. You think that's pretty much go hand in hand, like. Think like solving the trust will help us be more vulnerable towards each other. I mean, again, like I don't know. I feel like you're pretty vulnerable. Yeah. I'm pretty vulnerable of a person. Like, but I don't know. I feel like that's something natural, something that came kind of natural to me. Like I don't want to. I never just thought people was just out here to do bad. Like that's what the people's intent. Like I never thought that. Like,
well, I mean, I guess like just like the last couple statements, because we want to share, because we want to save some for our next podcast, yeah, I feel like trust, like when you increase your level of trust with anything, like you trust in any situation, like you're able to feel more comfortable, and comfortability breeds vulnerability. So you feel comfortable, you feel like you're able to trust them, because vulnerability means that you're giving yourself, like you're putting down your walls, and you're allowing them to have access to you in some way, shape, or form, whether physically, emotionally, mentally. They have some access to you that like other people aren't able to. So when you have that trust, I feel like we will be more vulnerable, and maybe that will open doors to us being able to be more united and to speak to each other, and to like whenever somebody's struggling on the street, like you don't just drive by them, or you don't say, "Oh, no, he's straight." Like you actually go out there and help them, because you're like, this is somebody that like looks like me, is part of the community. Like let me help them, like pick them up. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, final thoughts on that, or
yeah, I mean, I agree. You're totally right, because. I mean, you're not going to be like, some people, I guess they can just be open with everybody. I'm not that type of person. Like, I mean, I eventually get there and then I'm really open, but it's like, even those people, it's like, they're open with everybody, but it might be just at like, like at the surface level. Like, so they might seem open, like, just open to starting conversations, but I don't think, like, being open to starting conversations, just having a conversation with everyone is the same thing as being vulnerable, because, like, when do you, like, I mean, you could talk about a whole bunch of things, and, like, not opened up about yourself at all. So I mean, I feel like that's the difference. So just because like you open up conversations, you know, you talk a lot, or you don't have a problem talking with new people, doesn't necessarily mean that you're a vulnerable person. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, I mean, that takes comfort. You know, so you got to feel in a safe space to really be vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? And like you got to be trusting. I mean, I know certain people. I mean, you might not trust. Like, I mean, if you have a reason not to trust them, then that's different.
And none of this conversation is like us saying like you should blindly just go out there and just trust every single person you see. You should blindly like just like accept everyone. Like, it's good to accept people, but like be cognizant. Yeah, like, you want just to with somebody. Just be cautious. Like, be aware of life. Like, because like I said, everybody's willing to everybody's capable of doing anything. But just don't judge until you have like the proof behind that. Like, don't just like have thoughts pop in your head and just say, all right, like boom, like this is how it is. Like, have some smarts about you, but also be aware that a lot of people aren't the way you think they are. Like
especially in those little interactions, like it's not really much, but just like some everyday life, like it's a small interaction. You already like this quick judgment call, like you know what I'm saying. Like if you judge somebody, you're already thinking negatively. Like you're not gonna trust that person. That means you don't trust others in the community like that person. And there's always a lot of people that might visually look, not exactly the same, but have same characteristics of that person. So you don't want to be quick to judge them. Yeah. But yeah, man, like I'm saying, man, I'm coming. I guess I'll speak about it in other episodes. But yeah, like I said, man, hate is just not the answer. Like loving and like
we talk about
loving and service. Like that's gonna get us places. Like just being service, like helping people, like just giving knowledge, just being I guess sacrificing. So for the greater good. So
yeah, I mean we did talk about that in the next podcast. But thank you again for listening.
Episode 4, plenty more on the way.
All right, yeah, and we'll be back next week. So see you again.
Peace.